Thank you so much for joining me today to talk at Brand Innovators Cannes 2024. It's fantastic to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I'm Lance Wolder, the head of marketing and strategy for PadSquad.
I'm Carley Caldas, VP of brand marketing and media for EOS.
I think that, talking about creators being a big part of this year's conference, are you guys doing a lot with creators? What's happening with that?
Creators are a huge part of our marketing in general. If you're familiar with EOS, we speak to a young consumer, predominantly Gen Z, millennial, now starting to talk to Gen Alpha. And so creator is one of the biggest ways that they interact with brands. And so it's a huge part of our work. We actually are doing an activation at Cannes with creators, which is really, really fun. So I'm excited to see that come to life. We have 6 creators that we brought here with us. And they have pretty loose schedules because we just wanted them to get the most out of the festival, to meet people. They have a few speaking engagements. Creators are private, they own their own businesses basically, and they're their own brands. So they have really interesting insights and ways that they strategize and think about their audience that we learn a lot from, and it would be great for other brands and partners to learn from too. So I'm super excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where did this kind of emphasis for creators come from in your overarching brand strategy? Was there something that pushed you in that direction?
It really comes from the consumer. We always try to be consumer first. And when you really know your consumer and you understand their landscape and what they're actually engaging with, if you're focused on a young consumer, creators is just a big part of it. Creators are their friend. They feel like they have such intimate connections with creators. They learn from them. They laugh with them. They're entertained by them. They get updates about what's going on in the world from them. It's any sort of industry, I think, has relevance in the creator marketplace. And we, being in beauty and personal care, there's so much in terms of recommendations or how to actually use products or how to layer our products with other products to get the best fragrance experience that you want. If you want to curate this, and so much rich conversation comes out of creator, it just made sense for us to be working with them.
Yeah, I think that the creator universe and this idea of creating content for their audience that's telling your brand story is really important. But earlier today we were also talking about authenticity, and something that the Gen Z, Gen Alpha audience really cares about. Is that a part of the ethos that you guys are carrying, or where does that fit into things?
Absolutely. I think, authenticity, it's everybody says authenticity. It's such a buzzword. I want it to be...
It's almost a drinking game.
Yeah.
It becomes the thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's actually should be our Cannes Lion drinking game. Is
yes.
How many times are people mentioning AI and who's saying authenticity?
I did AI last year and I was drinking.
Everybody wants to be authentic, but then it's so easy and it's so tempting to be here's a really authentic story, and it's coming from you, it's coming from the brand. It's actually you find those authentic stories when you're listening to your consumer. That's where we find ours. And in that case, you have to be willing to learn, listen, not just to hear, but listen to learn. You can learn really fascinating things when you're paying attention to consumers, when they're talking about you or when they're not talking about you. Other just conversations that are happening that are relevant to them. We found a few years ago, we found a new use case for our shave cream that we had never messaged to before. And it was in the, on TikTok, in the creator space, or actually they weren't even, this girl wasn't even a creator at the time, she is now. Somebody had asked her how she avoids getting razor burn when she shaves her bikini line. And she's like, I'll tell you exactly how. And she proceeds to go on and have this very real tutorial, and it's all featuring our product. And she speaks about the benefits for it. It's all this, and it was called our Bless Your Fucking Cooch campaign.
I saw that.
Yes,
that's amazing.
Because she goes, let me tell you the secret for how to bless your fucking cooch. And she points to our product. And we had never, first of all, we would never write a brief that says those words. I don't think any brand would.
It's a little dicey.
But secondly, we had been hearing people talk about using our products for maybe, 6 months to a year. We had been hearing in social, doing our social listening, people talk about our products for your intimate area. And so we had done some product testing to make sure that it was gynecologically safe and everything. And it became a new avenue for us to message to. It's like, actually, we are the shaving cream. Like the young consumer has crowned us the shaving cream for if you're shaving like your intimate area or your cooch or
It's
your hoo-ha.
amazing.
And
Bless it.
yeah, exactly. And so it was not only a new use case, but it's also, there's other shave brands that will talk about that area, but it was a learning and like actually using the language of the consumers, because they're not calling it their pubic area. You know, like nobody says like pubic. They say cooch.
No.
They say hoo-ha. They say vag. Like these are the words that are not necessarily brand. They become my brand words. I can't even tell you how many emails I send that say cooch in it. But it's
Like I had to change autocorrect 14 times.
It's like, I think it's authentic. It was authentic for us because it wasn't something that seemed natural, but it was right for the consumer. It's the way that they were talking. And like when we had to like literally reconfigure our website so that when people searched for cooch, it went to our shaving cream, because that's how often people were looking for it, or hoo-ha. And so it's just become a part of our brand and the way that we think about messaging to consumers, the way the, you know, guardrails that we remove when we're working with creators, and even some of our own brand content. It's like, you know, I think nobody had done it because you thought you couldn't, you didn't know how
Right,
to
it felt
react.
taboo, and what are you going to do?
Exactly. And then, you know, after that, it's like we can, you know, of course we have our brand tenants and we have like an idea of brand safety. Absolutely. We can have a lot of fun, and our consumers don't just like it, they love it, and we see it help grow our business. Like that Blush Protecting Cooch campaign was a few years ago, but like not only did it win us a bunch of awards, which is wonderful, I love winning awards, but it doubled our shave business.
Wow.
It made us go from number 5 to number 1 in the category. We grew the category by like 40% that first year. Like those are things that you can't dispute. Like this changed our business. Like this campaign really changed our business. And so having that like justification and to be able to substantiate doing edgy work that's in the voice of the consumer is amazing, because it just opened doors for us to be able to do more and more.
That's so awesome. I have one follow-up question on that. Is like, how the hell do you sell that through to take it farther than the creator universe? Because getting the you know, leadership team comfortable with that couldn't be easy. How'd it go?
It's so funny because when So Young, who's our CMO, was absolutely amazing, and I love working with her. When we both came onto the brand, it was within like 2 months of each other. We were having a hard time getting damn approved in a piece of content because it felt like too much of a swear word. And now we have like cooch and hoo-ha and like all of these things.
Whole new vernacular.
I think, you know, I think that campaign was great because it happened so fast. We basically just like asked for forgiveness, not permission. And we didn't have to ask for forgiveness because of all those amazing business stats that I saw, that I just mentioned. Like it became very apparent to everyone in the leadership in our company that when you can do it right and you can speak to the consumer in the way that they like and a way that they understand, it feels natural to them, it's going to have positive impacts on your business. It's actually not been hard at all. We've gotten like a lot of other work put through in our approval process that maybe
Probably wouldn't have.
other people would have had a hard time with. But we've seen it on shave, we've seen it on body, we've even seen it on lip when we change like the way that we message and certain words that we pick up on and the conversations that, you know, we allow ourselves to be a part of as a brand. Because they're already, like those conversations are happening for brands. People are
100%.
talking about you or they're talking about your categories, and you just have to like know what those conversations are and figure out like, is it right for you to be a part of it? Like, rather than you trying to start a conversation on your own, like there's so many that are already happening. Like you look for the ones that make sense for you to be a part of.
Oh, that's so inspiring. I think you could say it takes real bravery to go after it and then ask for forgiveness. But the funny thing is, I liken this to this idea of saying when it's X-rated, you know, when you see it, like it's gotten too far. I almost flip that on its head and say, you were able to say, wow, you could look at it that way. It's so real and so authentic that you just can't go wrong. It's right. It's not wrong. It's right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, but it's not just, I think, it's not just being disruptive for the sake of being disruptive. I think it's because it's what's right. It's what makes sense for our consumer. Like that's where we were in shave and body. Like there was this whole, so we have scented body lotions, which if you haven't tried, you should. They're amazing.
Okay.
And there's a social conversation happening about like one of our fragrances specifically that people think is basically like they liken it to like an aphrodisiac. They're like,
Love.
Every single time I wear this, like my man can't keep his hands off of me, like these crazy things, and like we're like, this is amazing. People love this. We see our business growing. We see we see chatter about our brand growing online. Like, how do we be a part of this? And it wouldn't be, I think, the first thought for somebody to put out a piece of content that says, don't wear this unless you want to go to Pound Town. But it was right for the consumer because they said it. And, we're like, that is awesome. I'm going to give you a mic. I'm going to let your voice shine through. And so, yeah, it's different and it's disruptive, but it's not just for the sake of I want to do something splashy. It's like, this is what people are actually saying and talking about. It makes sense because it's real.
Yeah, I think this idea of social listening a lot of times is like, hey, what are the trends? What's that new TikTok thing we're going to jump on? But you really just demonstrated that it's listen to what your customers talk about, what they care about, and ultimately what's going to resonate when you take it back to them. So thank you for sharing today. It was so nice spending time at the beach.
This was wonderful. I think we need to tally up all of our drinks for AI and authenticity, even just in our conversation.
Yeah.
Head over to the bar.
Let's do that. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.